Hi guys. I'm just gonna come out and say it. Today is just not a happy day. As much as I want to smile for you guys because for all of my fans who watch my videos and put down the positive comments, I cherish you greatly and I always want to smile for you. It's just today I'm upset, I am angry, and the question that I'm asking myself and to every one of you is why? Why did this happen? Before I want to get into it, I'm just gonna say this video is going to be like raw footage. I'm not gonna edit most of this at all because I just want everyone to know my thought process and I want everyone to know that I'm not doing any magic tricks to show how angry I am, because this is the real me when I am frustrated at the society we're living in. So, all of you are probably aware of what happened in Japan at this point. The famous animation studio, Kyoto Animation, burnt down this morning. And I mean, well, this morning, Japan time, because it happened 10 a.m. their time, which is basically night, or late last night our time, if you live in the United States, and stuff like that. Because basically in their time, they're already into the next day. That morning, Kyoto Animation was set on fire, and as of the most recent article I have read so far, by the time this video comes up, it might have changed. So don't take my full word for this. But 33 people were found dead in Kyoto Animation. Possibly employees, possibly visitors, possibly whoever business people who were there at the time. 33 of them were killed, and dozens more were critically injured and sent to the hospital. And I just want to say right now that this morning, as I was reading these articles at work earlier today, which is why I am posting this video now, and why I didn't do it earlier, I prayed that this was just a terrible accident. I mean, I would never wish this on anybody, but at least that would be the better outcome than what I did read on the article. And after reading so many of them to this point, you can't deny that this happened. You can't argue that this didn't happen. This is the straight up fact. A 41-year-old man poured gas-like liquid around Kyoto Animation and set it ablaze. And he took 33 lives just because of whatever. We don't know, what the motivation is yet, because the Japanese police are still looking into the case as of right now, because this is a completely fresh case, because it happened this morning. However, the suspect was arrested, but he was also injured along with his victim, so I think they're getting him hospitalized and then they're going to arrest him. And according to the articles I've read, This is Japan's worst arsonist crime in years. And I'm going to assume that's because of the damage that was caused because Kyoto, Kyoto, I'm sorry, I'm trying to talk right now. Kyoto Animation's building was destroyed, and how many lives that it took with it as it collapsed or something, if there was even video footage, I don't think I would bring myself to watch it. It would probably traumatize me for the rest of my life. So I'd rather spare myself the torture just a little bit. But that did not stop me from reading intricate details of this crime going down the way it did. I did not want to wake up and be at work listening or reading this. Like, I'm probably the only person at work who watches anime and pays attention to stuff like that, so I really did not have anyone to talk to about it. And my family is still on vacation. I came back a week early because I had to go back to work, and my vacation days are a little bit limited. So, as we speak, they're boarding the plane from the Pacific Ocean right now, and they're not going to come back till tomorrow morning, which I'll be at work already, but that's fine. So I couldn't really talk to my sister about it because she'll be on the plane and there's basically no Wi-Fi on the plane. Or there is, or you have to pay for it, which is stupid in my opinion. So that's why I wanted to make a video. I wanted to start a conversation with all of you. And I was hoping that maybe one more opinion could shed a light on this situation. With Kyoto Animation, it's become one of my favorite studios, and for me, it did start with Violet Evergarden, as you all know, was like the favorite anime of last year. Like, no one, like everyone and their mothers and their grandmothers talked about this show. They talked about how beautiful the animation is, its story, its characters. I think it's like one of my top tier anime at this point. But I think, as you all know, who have been anime fans for a while, Violet Evergarden was not the only anime that Kyoto Animation touched. In fact, I typed down a list of all the anime that either are popular amongst all boards, or maybe that most of you have heard of or should know, because some of them are old, like from the 2000s, and then others are from today. However, this studio has been around since the late 1980s. And to say that a studio survived for that long, I think that's a major achievement for me. Like, you start... Like, look, I'm not saying Kyoto Animation is like Studio Ghibli or the Walt Disney World Animation Studio, but they were making a name for themselves these past few years. And like, this is a studio that probably most otakus could name from the top of their heads if someone asked them, like, name some of your favorite animation studios, go. Most of them, like 9 out of 10, would say Kyoto Animation. And so, here are hopefully I got all the titles of your favorite anime from the studio down. If I did not, I apologize. I'm just trying to name the ones that most, if not all of you, know what they are. They were known for anime such as Air, Amagi Brilliant Park, which I started, but I need to finish that. Chunibyo, most of you know that one. Clannad, the most famous one. Free, Full Metal Panic, Sound Euphorium, Hyoka, the Inuyasha movies, not the show, the movies. K-On!, Canon, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, and I know all of you have seen that show. Except for me, because I don't like the fan service. A Silent Voice, one of my favorite anime movies of all time. Beyond the Boundary, Lucky Star, Nichijou, The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, Tamako Market, Tsurune, which has become one of my favorite anime of 2019 so far, and last but not least, I mentioned before, Violet Evergarden. As you can see, Kyoto Animation already had a long library of fantastic anime that people adored with a burning passion. And they had so many more projects that they were going to do. Like, in 2020, they were going to release the next part of the Free series. Now, at this point, I don't think most of those projects, even the new section of the Free series, are going to see the light of day. Because one man decided that it was either funny or a good idea to set a building on fire, killing 33 people and injuring many more. All because that one man thought it was a good idea somehow. We don't know why. Like, we don't know yet. We don't know why yet. And I don't know if we'll never know. But honestly, I don't care. Because all I do care about is whatever rationale that he had is no excuse for taking 33 lives of 33 innocent people who did nothing wrong, who did nothing to be trapped inside a burning building and have that be their final resting place. And what makes me feel worse is that these people most likely had families who had to be told that their family member was not going to come home ever again because of that one man's decision. I don't care if it was radical, I don't care if it was planned, I don't care. I already stated that. I don't care. Because it was that one decision that ended up changing every single thing about that studio's legacy. However, in the light of this tragedy, one of Kyoto Animation's business partners, I think they're called, or it's pronounced, Sentai Filmworks. If I'm wrong, please tell me. I'm trying my best not to butcher anything. They started a GoFundMe page to hopefully raise money to rebuild and hopefully get Kyoto Animation back on its feet. And now I also have heard that in Japan, there have been many cases where if a tragedy did happen, and if someone asked if they wanted people to donate to the cause, they would refuse the money. And I think knowing about Japan and their cultural lifestyle based around pride, it may be 100% or close to 100% possible that Kyoto Animation, their board, the company itself might refuse these donations as well. But at the very least, if that does happen, if the money is refused, at least the money is not going to sit in that GoFundMe account. It's going to be returned to the generous donies who want and who just basically want to see Kyoto Animation back up and running. It's because whoever donates to the cause obviously loves the animation studio and the anime industry so much that they can't bear to see it not exist anymore. That would definitely be me. I mean, it may not be much, but I obviously am a huge fan of the arts. It doesn't matter what country the arts are in. It doesn't matter what form it comes from. Because in my opinion, art is like the glue that holds all of the cultures of this world together. Because at least art to me is universal. It could be beautiful no matter what type it is, where its origins are from. Because though things might not be expressed in the same language as you speak, it doesn't matter. Because you can still love it even if you don't understand if it has writing on the side. Like, for some things, you don't have to understand what it's saying. Still, there was one comment I read on Anime America's video when Robin was discussing her thoughts on this whole incident, where one person said that they donated a couple dollars, but they said at the end of their comments, but no matter how much money I donate, it's never, ever going to bring back the 33 lives that were stolen that day. And that hits home in many more ways than I could ever comprehend myself. Like when I was a teenager, that was when the Sandy Hook shooting occurred. And I thought the same thing. No matter how much money that they donated to, like, alter the Second Amendment, like, fight for gun rights, and for the school itself, or for the families whose children or the teachers who taught at that school, none of that money, or none of those prayers, or none of that support could ever bring back the ones who lost their lives for basically no reason at all that day. Even with the school shooting down in Florida, where I had already graduated from college when that incident happened, nothing was going to bring back those students who were killed again for no reason that day. And even before I was born with the Columbine shooting, no matter what everyone did to get everyone back on their feet, nothing was going to bring back those lost lives that day either. As I talked about earlier, the one thing that pisses me off above all else, is that I already mentioned. Innocent lives were taken away because of one person's irrationale. One person who was probably disturbed, angry, frustrated, whatever he was feeling that morning. And he thought his one way of releasing whatever negative emotion he was going through that morning, it was to take it out and take it away and take lives of innocent people away. He stripped their humanity just so, most likely, he could make himself feel 100% better. And those are the people who I hate the most. It's people who cannot find healthy ways to control whatever is bothering them. So they think that the only way they can make themselves feel better is by putting others in misery. And whether this is the guy's intentions or not, again, as I said, I don't care. Because how I saw it, what he did to Kyoto Animation was something I made up, or maybe it does exist. I'm not sure. I don't know if it has this name. It's what I like to call terrorism on the arts. It doesn't matter who that person is, but just the fact that he decided to take his rage, depression, or whatever out on a place where art is made, where art is manufactured, where art is shared. The fact that he decided to take it out on that says to me that whatever he was feeling, he was gonna blame it on a support system of the arts. And that's the part that makes me angry, because we already have people in power who are just like, oh, the arts, we don't care, it's not fundamental as politics or science or anything like that. But you know what? It's because of the arts that society is the way it is today. Art tells history. Art tells stories. Even art helps us move forward with how our society is growing. And it's all because of the simple thing or two simple things of creativity and imagination. Like, do you think we would ever have any modern medicine if someone didn't have the creative initiative to figure out ways to prevent people from dying because of a simple illness? Or, let me think of something else. All of you like movies, I'm sure. I am most sure that everyone has seen a movie once or twice in their lives. And that's one thing that keeps you entertained in this society. If the person who didn't invent motion pictures, or, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. I think my anger's getting in the way of my sentence structure. If the person who invented motion pictures didn't do it, if he just decided, nope, I'm not gonna do it, do you think we would have that today? Think about it. Would we have that today? What would we be doing if movies didn't exist? I don't know. Maybe journaling, reading a book. Which are still pretty good things, by the way. Like, people should know how to read and write at the very least. It's this attack on creative minds that just tells me how far some unstable people are willing to go just to make sure that branch of it is gone and hopefully doesn't resurrect. And like I said, I don't care if this was the guy's intentions or not. But I'm sorry, from the way it looked and sounded in every single article I've read, that seems to be the guy's opinion. And like I said, the police are still investigating this case. So we might not get everything until much later. That, as usually what happens, like, cases could go on from months to years. Like, days to weeks to months to years. So we just might have to keep reading those articles that will be showing up every single day with new bits of evidence that prove the guy's intentions or don't. But for now, what I do want to do is not focus on what we have lost, but hopefully what we can gain or what we can return. So in the comment section below, I put down 2 links. One is the Kyoto Animation GoFundMe, which you can donate your funds to, or your money to, help get Kyoto Animation back on its feet, as I mentioned earlier. And I found another link, which I found on Lost Pause's video, which I thought it could also be helpful, is the Kyoto Animation digital store, which sells all things digital that I think you can download to your computer for your entertainment. It's like, I think it's audios, CDs, stuff like that. Like their store is still up, so people can still at least buy things so that the animation company would get that money to hopefully go to rebuild their animation studio and hopefully get their animation back on track. Now, the thing about the digital store is it is entirely in Japanese, and you can definitely tell who it's directed at mostly. But I think if you have the Google Translate, like automatic translate on your browser, or something like that, I think you can navigate that website just a little bit easier, because I experimented that earlier today, and it did help a little bit, because at least now I know what the store is selling, and most importantly, what their mission statement is. But at the end of the day, as I said before, it is Kyoto Animation's decision whether they want this money or whether they do not. And as Lost Pause put it, the worst thing that could happen is that the money would be refunded to us. At least it would not be sitting in that GoFundMe pot for the rest of its days, because companies like this would never leave that in there if they did not have the intention of using it for the purpose that it was intended for. I'm thinking that making this video did make me feel a little better, just a tiny bit, because at least I finally vented myself, and all that stress and anger I had before was finally released. And I do hope that this video was a bit of relief for you as well. And if you want to vent a little bit more, or if you want to share your opinions, I highly recommend that you put those comments in the comment section below. But all I ask is that all of you are respectful about this situation. Because for Japan, I don't know if I would go as far as this being a national tragedy, but at the same time, I believe it is a national tragedy. Because this is a part of Japanese culture that was attacked. And if they attacked a part of that culture, they attacked the country itself. And topics like that are sensitive. So I beg of you, please be respectful, and no matter how angry and upset all of you must be, we have to remember that everyone is human and not and we have to remember that we shouldn't take this tragedy in vain. We have to take this as an opportunity to move forward. We have to take this as an opportunity to help rebuild and protect what we love. At least that's what I'm going to do. I'm Cait Cher, and I hope when you see me next time, we can finally bring up these high spirits. Bye.